to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Hutchins, please.
Father, we thank you for this night. Lord, we just ask that you'll give us wisdom tonight as we conduct the city's business, keep knowledge of the things that we need to keep up with. We just ask again you'll be with our troops overseas, keep them safe, and we just praise you and thank you. And I ask this all in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Davis.
Present.
Hutchins.
Present.
Candia.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Martina.
Present.
Mayor Caton.
Present. Declaration of conflicts of interest. Seeing none, go to item 6, ceremonial matters. And now we'll go to item 7, items from the public, non-agenda item. Any member of the public wish to address the council, now would be time to do it. Okay, we'll go to consent calendar, item 8. A is waive all readings of ordinances and resolutions set by title. B is approval of the warrants. I'd like to pull item C for separate action. D is side letter agreement of 2 memorandum of understanding with OE3 Newman Police Officers Association. E, adopt resolution number 2013, next to number of resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a memorandum of agreement with the County of Stanislaus, City of Modesto, City of Riverbank, City of Patterson, City of Ceres, City of Waterford, and the City of Houston for the California Office of Traffic Safety General Traffic Records Grant Program.
I'd make a motion we accept this consent calendar except for C.
Second. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
And separate action on item C, I just noticed that there was just a slight typo in the motion to adjourn. I think Councilman Hutchins may have had a hard time from being in Maine, but if I remember, I think it was Councilman Candia and Martina, I believe, made the motion to adjourn.
I forgot.
So we can just make that notation and then for separate action on item C. Somebody?
I can't. So.
I move that we approve item C on the consent calendar.
Second the motion.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much. Okay, we go to item 9 is public hearing, and don't believe we have any. So item 10, regular business. A is adopt resolution number 2013, next to number, awarding the Tillery Street Infrastructure Improvement Project. Garner.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and council members. The item before you tonight is, as you stated, the Tillery Street Infrastructure Improvement Project bid award. City of Newman receives grant funding through the CDBG consortium through Stanislaus County for infrastructure improvements within the city of Newman in our income-eligible areas bordered by Yolo, In Street, Inyo Avenue, and the western city limits. Tillery Street from R Street to T experiences some localized flooding problems and has raised curb and gutter down through certain sections. This project is to repair those sections, repair the drain crossing on Tillery Street, and remove and replace the curb and gutter sections. The project includes approximately 155 feet of 10-inch storm drain replacement, 2 drain inlet structure replacements, approximately 363 feet of curb and gutter replacement, 1 driveway, 4 alley approaches. Included with the staff report is a map of those proposed areas where we want to do these improvements. The city advertised for bids for approximately 3 weeks. Received bids were open and read on March 20th, 2013 at 2 p.m. A total of 5 qualifying bids were received for the project, ranging from $77,042 to $113,033.13. The lowest responsible bidder has been determined to be Taylor Backhoe Services Incorporated with a low bid of $77,042. Included with your staff report is a bid abstract showing all the bids for this project. This project is budgeted in the fiscal year 2012-2013 budget. Therefore, staff is recommending awarding of the Tillery Street Infrastructure Improvement Project to Taylor Backhoe Services Incorporated for a bid amount of $77,042. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions or comments for Garner?
Now, is this all 10-inch drain all the way through there, Warner?
For the drain, what they're replacing is there's cross drains that go from the north side of the street to the south side of the street. It goes under the pavement. It's like a bubble-up drain that's collapsed. It was an old corrugated pipe that was put in many years ago. So they're replacing just those, or called bubble-up drains. So it's just, that's why it's only 155 feet.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Council direction.
I so move that we adopt resolution number 2013, next number, awarding the Tillery Street Infrastructure Improvement Project to Taylor Backhoe Services, Inc., bid for $77,042.
Motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Councilman Candia? Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item B is adopt resolution number 2013, next in number, authorizing the city manager to execute agreements with the California Department of Transportation for the City of Newman Highway 33 Corridor Planning Project. Garner, you too, again?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you. The item before you tonight is consider authorizing the city manager to execute agreements with the California Department of Transportation for the City of Newman Highway 33 Corridor Planning Project. As you may know, the Highway 33 corridor through the City of Newman is a two-lane state route with graded shoulders on the north and south ends of town. Between Inyo and Yolo Avenue, the area has older improvements, including curb, gutters, sidewalks, and street lighting. However, there is no unified or consistent landscape or streetscape patterns along those areas. Along the corridor, there are a variety of existing land uses ranging from agricultural operations to modern supermarkets, including large food processing operations, historic downtown buildings, residential uses, commercial uses, plaza, and light industrial uses. In 1996, the city adopted a Highway 33 specific plan. However, this plan is 17 years old and is in need of updating and change due to the changes that have recently occurred, in addition to provide guidance and direction for future development. The California Department of Transportation is soliciting applications for transportation planning grants. Within that grant program, there is a community-based transportation planning grant program that funds projects to promote and encourage community development and involvement in partnerships, support livable communities, support sustainable community concepts, promote community identity and quality of life, and sustainable community strategies. Development of a Highway 33 corridor plan will provide a development strategy and guidance to improve the land use consistency and enhance the character of our corridor, improve our appearance, improve economic development potential, and correct infrastructure deficiencies. In addition to this plan, we're also working on a non-motorized transportation plan that's coming before council in April. We're working in a regional group setting for sustainable community strategies for the future and looking at a complete streets policy for the city. These studies will be incorporated into this plan if we're successful in receiving this grant. The grant does have a budget, a $3 million budget with a cap per application of $300,000. There is a required local match of 10% for the grant that we're seeking. Staff is recommending submitting a community-based transportation planning grant in the amount of $250,000 with a required local match of $25,000. However, this program, currently grant application that we're applying for, will not affect this fiscal year. It probably will not be approved by Caltrans until at least next fiscal year, so we put it in the 2013-2014 budget year. As part of the application process, the city is required to pass a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute the agreements for this planning application. Therefore, staff is recommending City Council adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute agreements with the California Department of Transportation for the City of Newman Highway 33 Corridor Planning Project. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Questions?
I've got a question.
Okay.
And maybe I'm not reading this right, but when I read 10B, or is 10, and you look at the resolution, they don't seem to go together.
Well, what I tried to do on this was I tried to give you a lot of background on the planning grant application and the corridor. In order for us just to even apply for the grant, we have to pass a resolution just to sign agreements with Caltrans, provided that they request us ahead of time with the application process, provided we get the grant.
No, I'm talking
Councilman Hutchins,
resolution.
you're correct. There's a clerical error there where one of the, as you can read, one of the consent items.
Yeah, this is the resolution for you to sign for that.
Right. It's the wrong resolution attached.
Okay. I'm going, am I just totally lost? I mean, I know I was in Maine for a few days. Do we have that resolution?
I think the resolution attached to this is one that goes to item E.
Correct.
And the consent agenda,
Consent
right?
calendar.
No,
That's the resolution for the,
that was actually on.
Traffic safety.
Yeah, it's a clerical error. We actually included the same resolution twice. We didn't get the new one out.
Well, I guess my question is, do we have a copy of that, the resolution here with us tonight?
We do not. Tom, are we okay to approve that?
You could still, you could approve the recommendation, because a lot of times you'll have resolutions that get gutted and changed, so as long as you approve this concept, it would be fine.
Okay. Well, I'll make a motion, we authorize city manager to execute agreements with California DOT for the City of Newman Highway 33 corridor planning project.
I second that motion.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Sorry, I was...
Okay, item C is discussion regarding establishment of a committee to explore funding opportunities for the Aquatic Center and other recreational amenities. Michael?
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight, what I'm asking of the council is the opportunity, as you know, we've had the Aquatic Center on the books for a number of years now, and we've gone as far as to secure the site. We've gone as far to draft construction documents that are, I'm going to say, about 90-95% complete. But what we haven't been able to do with the dissolution of the redevelopment agencies is find a funding source. There are a lot of different opportunities out there to fund aquatic centers. Some are grants. We continue to seek and beat the bushes for those, but it's very tough to get those. So really, it's going to come down to the locals, people actually taking the initiative and trying to find a funding source. So with your permission, I'd like to set up a committee, exploratory committee, to do some research about how we could fund those. Some of the options that we'll discuss is the formation of a Parks and Recreation District. Also, we'll look at opportunities that maybe the school district and the city could maybe work together. I don't know, there's going to be different ones out there. What we'd like to do, though, is get some stakeholders from the community involved. In my mind, I'm only thinking I'd like to just, pick about 7 people, 7 to 9, and just have some discussions and be back to this council within the next 6 months with a recommendation. Ultimately, this would be led by myself. I'd probably end up doing some kind of white paper to go along with it, and then we would do a presentation at the conclusion of this research and make some options available to the council. So I can answer any questions that you may have.
Michael, I know we had a budget, or a preliminary budget, several years ago of about, $7 million or something like that?
The original budget was around $6 million. We have had an opportunity in the past where we scaled it down to about $5 million. That would be something that we would obviously, as a committee, look at and see, okay, what's the best way to move forward with an aquatic center, and depending on the funding options and the availability of funds, maybe there's a way to look at 3 different projects. One's a $3 million, a $5 million, and a $6 million project. I don't know. But those are things that I would like to explore with the committee and come back to you with the recommendation. I know all of you as the council members have never forgotten about this project, and because one, the community doesn't let us, but we've done a good job, and we really focused on the plaza. We really focused on downtown and this new city hall, and that's come up. But this is a project I think we've always had it on the back burner. We've never forgot about it. I think it's an opportunity for us to move it back to the front burner and really evaluate again and take a hard look at it and say, hey, is now the time? Can we do something? And in order for it to get done, it's really going to take a local initiative from our stakeholders and our residents to really buy off on this. And so we want to look at all the funding opportunities that are out there, and then again come back to you with some recommendations, and then maybe open it up to the community and see what they want to do.
Any other questions or comments? Michael, you think it's premature to touch on our meeting at all at this point that we had today?
The one today?
In regards to the possibility?
Yeah, former Mayor Medueno from the city of Riverbank now sits on a commission at the state level. In the past, that commission has doled out grant funds for the development of aquatic centers. Now, when they did it, most of them were doing it in conjunction with a state facility, usually a university or a junior college. But that hasn't deterred us. That's one of the things that I think this committee could explore and really look into that opportunity and see if it's viable for us to do a standalone without that. But we're encouraged that they've done it in the past. But again, there would be some, ultimately, when you find a funding source, whether it's a grant or some kind of loan program or whatever, they want to see some local buy-in, so we need to be able to demonstrate. Not only have we purchased the land, spent money on the land, we've spent money on the construction documents. I mean, we've spent a lot of our own money, so, let's see what we can do to develop a little bit more and then maybe try to find some grants or some other kind of funds to finish off the program, so.
Well, I was encouraged today, just by the conversation we had. Virginia brought another commissioner with her, Mr. John Benuelos out of Elk Grove. And he, toured the city and was very taken back by our community and thought it was such a great community, just appearance-wise. And his comments, the fact that all this money that they have doled out over the years has been going to the Southland, and he'd like to see that change. And part of the reason for that is that communities in Northern California have not applied for any of these funds. So I was encouraged just by his comments that he was going to personally speak with an individual out of Sacramento who's directly in charge of some of these funds, if I recall. And so I was just encouraged by his comments that he made and that his willingness to work with Virginia and to work with the city, and he wants to line up some of these people to bring them to our community. So whether or not anything ever comes of it, at least we get our foot in the door, and who knows, just for the sheer fact that a lot of this money in millions and millions and millions of dollars have been going south. And he'd like to see that change. So.
Quick question, Michael. Yeah, I know, if I recall you saying that they had doled out money and tied it to universities and junior colleges and stuff. Have they done any regionally stuff like with high schools and stuff like that?
He did not cite any high schools that had gathered that money, but I think that's something that the search committee really needs to look at is relationships when there's multiple agencies, multiple organizations that are joining together for a project. It strengthens your application. So if the city and the county or the city and the school district join together on an application, it just adds additional strength to the application. So I think those are things that we're going to explore as a committee.
And I know your local community college district would be happy to participate if called upon.
Great.
We do have.
You don't have to know anybody there.
I forget we have a nexus. And Supervisor DeMartini's wife also sits on that board, so it's a double nexus hopefully. So, but, obviously there's no saying, oh, we're going to get you money, but there is saying, we'd like to explore some opportunities and see what happens. So I think Michael and I both felt, it's worth exploring, and if we can get a few votes on our side, that just for the sheer fact that they want some of that money to stay in Northern California, maybe we'll get lucky. I don't know. I got my fingers crossed, so we'll see what happens with that. But I think forming this committee is a good idea, and to have some communication and conversation about how we go about making this happen.
Do we need a motion, Counselor, or
I
can we
think,
just have a
consensus.
Consensus is, yeah.
Just a consensus, right?
So everybody concur to allow the city manager to establish this committee?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Have at it, Michael.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll go to item 11, District Supervisor Jim D. Martini.
Good evening, Mayor Caton, council members. This is a very quiet time at the county now. I can not remember a time when we had virtually no issues. As far as, I have a few things I can go over quickly. As far as the air base, there is nothing going on with that project at all, and I don't see anything in the future. We're going to renew the ag lease for about 3 years. I would say we're 2 to 3 years from doing anything on it, if I were to guess. Anyway, nothing on that. Since the last time I've been here, we finally got through the enterprise zone consensus of the board to support the enterprise zones is really what it is. I know the city of Newman and all the rest of the cities did it about a month ago. We're slow and bureaucratic, but I finally got it through. I just, because it was part of our legislative platform anyway. We voted on that last week, supporting it. As far as the healthcare task force, we had our meeting last week in Patterson. We did set the terms for the directors, something that we did not do last year, setting 1/3 of the board as 1-year term, 1/3 at 2 year, 1/3 at 3 years. Our attorney said we needed to do that, and we had not neglected to do that when we first set it up. So that is done. We worked on our plan for our health summit here in Newman on October 22nd. I did talk to the Ag Commissioner today, and he is going to bring his crew with the scale to have the official weigh-in again. Our next meeting will be May 9th in Gustine. And of interest maybe to some people, I don't know about you, but whoever may be listening, the annual ranchers meeting at Frank Raines Park up in Del Puerto Canyon is going to be on April 3rd. And they discuss a lot of issues specific to that area and wildlife conservation, cattlemen's associations there, the Resource Conservation District, University of California Extension Service, and a variety of other people. If anybody has an interest in that, the meeting is will be beginning at about 9:30 on April 3rd. There is a lunch that's free that's put on by the Resource Conservation District. They usually ends about 2 o'clock. I've been to a number of years, and it is a pretty good program. And that's all I have this evening.
Any questions or comments? Thank you, Jim. Items from city manager and staff. Michael?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a reminder, and I'll remind you at the next meeting as well, the third Tuesday of April is April 16th. We have a joint meeting with the school district here at this facility at, I believe it's 6:30, but I'll double check the time with you and I'll get that back to you.
You got it's got 6 o'clock on
We
the
got 6
calendar.
o'clock, yeah. For some reason I thought it was 6:30, but I'll double check and get back to you on that when we got one more meeting. Spring cleanup is coming up for those who take part in that. That will be April 8th through the 13th. And there's also a hazardous waste drop-off that weekend, and that's on the Friday and the Saturday, but that's only from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The times for the cleanup can be accessed through our website. Just want to remind everybody, tomorrow, March 27th, is a Wednesday at the community meeting room behind the former, which is the former city council chambers. We will be having our Founders Day meeting, and that'll be at 6 p.m. Leaf and brush pickup ends this week, so on Sunday. So if you have any last prunings or any last things that you need to do, please get those out on the curb no later than Sunday. Once our waste hauler comes through in the following week, we will no longer be picking that up. At our next meeting, just a reminder, we will be considering a budgetary item for the LCR, the Latino Community Roundtable District Elections, and doing the report, that's the demographics report, that's part of that. I did prepare a notice of public meeting, did fax that over to them, or emailed it over to them, as well as mailed it out to, I believe, at least a dozen or maybe a dozen and a half local community groups. Again, just in full disclosure to let them know if they have any concerns or if they feel that they're part of the protected classes that aren't being, or they're not feeling like they're being represented. It's an opportunity for them to come and share that concern. I sent off, I think I put them all in your boxes, the letter to the county regarding the property tax administration fee. So we have not yet heard back on that. General consensus that I'm hearing from the other cities is I don't think any of the other cities are going to sign it as well at this time. But the Orristimba Creek final feasibility report, or the chief's report, is moving forward. At this point in time, it sounds like the preliminary set the end of May for the Civil Works Review Board, and we've had a preliminary meeting, conference call with the Army Corps of Engineers, and that, again, tentatively scheduled for the last week of May. They may need a Newman representative and a county representative to go and do presentations in front of a board in Washington, D.C., so we'll see how that works out. Tonight, you did approve a grant application for the Highway 33 project, and as staff, we want to thank you for that. As you know, we spent a lot of time and energy in the last 2 decades really working and strengthening up our downtown. We created the corridor that kind of provides the window from Highway 33 through into our downtown. But when you go down the downtown, it's completely different than what you see in the main street. So the goal of that particular plan will be to extend the downtown and its charm onto that main highway and really try to attract people off the highway district into our downtown district. So hopefully this plan will do that. It will also allow us, as we move forward and a project wants to develop on a piece of property, we'll know what kind of right-of-way they need to dedicate, what the right-of-way in front of it looks like, how many lane widths are there, where's the curb and gutter going to go, how much land they're going to need to dedicate. So that would help property owners as well as staff in the future to be able to say when someone comes in and say, well, this is what your standards are going to be. So thank you for that. We're continuing to work on the budget, and that'll probably consume pretty much the next 2 months of our time. And I know it'll definitely consume much of Lou's time, but we'll be moving forward with that. Preliminary numbers make me nervous, but Lou says we're okay. So, and then lastly, last Tuesday we had the Northwest Quadrant property owners meeting and a scoping session in here. It was attended maybe by, I would say, a dozen people. They all had good questions, and they expressed their concerns. We took all those down. And then there was a second meeting, which is the scoping session, which is more technical in nature and deals with the NOP, the Notice of Preparation for the Environmental Impact Report. And that was attended by the same people, so it was the same presentation over. But we got through it, and I don't think, I think we walked through the process with people, what it meant, what does the master plan mean, and those types of things. And I think it was pretty well received by the community. So we were excited, and we're still moving forward with that project. And again, April 16th, we'll walk you as the council and the school board through the project as well, and let you know where it's at and kind of lay out a timeline for you. And right now, we're probably looking end of 13, beginning of 14 before it really starts hitting our commissions and our council levels. So with that, I can answer any questions you may have.
Great, thanks, Michael. Any questions or comments?
Just a question, Michael. Our banners for our birthday party coming up,
Yes.
any comments from the general public as far as?
We've had positive comments.
I think they look great.
Yeah, in fact, our Public Works Director, Garner Reynolds, actually made a stand, so now we have one that we'll be able to just kind of move around and place out in the front or and do other things, maybe place it out in the plaza when we're out there and doing things, so I think he's.
Was there enough to get on Highway 33? I don't know how much.
We ordered a few extra, so I think there's a few light standards or light posts on the plaza
Okay.
that we're going to put up. I think there's 4. Yeah, we might try to get 4 right around the plaza area there to kind of draws people's attention to the downtown.
Thank you. Looks great.
Staff, Lieutenant Short,
Nothing tonight?
Lou? Garner?
I'll make up for them. Thank you, Mayor. Just quick update on some projects we have coming up for you. We have the Safe Routes to School project, which is a Hoyer Road improvements up on Hoyer Road. That project should be coming out to bid hopefully in the next month, have it in front of council. The reason we've delayed this project a little bit is we wait till school is out before we do the construction in front of the school, or right nearby the school. At the same time, we're going to go out and advertise for our 2013 street repair project, which would be to complete the overlay project that we started on P Street and to finish that and do some other road improvements. So those projects will be coming out in parallel. Hopefully, we get those out to bid in April, bring them before council in May is what we're looking at. We're vigorously outside doing some various sidewalk repairs through town. If you see our barricades up and you see guys out there working, doing some grinding and patching and repairing. So we're trying to get a aggressive approach on that so we can get ahead of it. And last item I have for council tonight is we're working on a bike to work event for May 16th. The next council meeting, we'll be bringing a proclamation in front of council for consideration. And for May 16th, we'll actually have an event in the plaza that morning for people wanting to bike and walk to work. We're going to get the community involved or get some fundraising going to have some prizes and gift bags for those that choose to bike and walk to work. That's all I have. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Great. Questions or comments? Okay. Don, we'll start at your end.
Just a quick question for Garner, and I know it has to do with our wonderful Caltrans. Coming in from the north end of town, that N 45 mile an hour speed sign, and then you go another 2 blocks before you actually see what the speed limit is. Are they going to fix that?
We've met with Caltrans, police chief and I met with them out there to discuss their new signage they put in based on the speed survey that they completed. They insisted that the 45 to N45 to 35 was correct signage, but we insisted that it was incorrect, and so they've agreed to come in and they're going to move the 35 mile an hour sign over up to YOLO and then put a reduced speed ahead sign in lieu of the N45 speed limit sign. So they have agreed to come in and correct that.
Because I know most of the time N45 means go back to 55.
That was our interpretation as well. And the police chief had to actually be very insistent with the engineer from Caltrans that that is not correct before they would actually agree to change it.
Okay, it just seemed kind of weird. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thanks. Roberta, anything?
I don't have anything tonight.
Nick?
Nothing tonight.
Bob?
I just had a question. We had a lot of people here last time on Canal School Road. I don't know if anything's transpired or, I know it's probably just a short period, but has there been any indication that we've made progress?
Public Works has been out. We've started putting in some shoulder work along there. We've put approximately 20 tons of rock, or aggregate base rock is what it's called, along the shoulder to help with that. Once we have about another 20 scheduled for, I think it's next week due to the rain, there's potential for our area. So we're going to continue the shoulder work, get the shoulder grading all done, come back in, we'll put a fog line down it'd be kind of the north side of the roadway, freshen up the striping, and then we're going to work with our consultant, Katie Anderson and Associates, to provide a technical memorandum on any other suggestions they may have to maybe give the appearance that the traffic needs to slow down to the 45. Once we get that completed, then our goal is to meet with Merced County to see if there's something that they can help us with to forewarn them as they come into town to make it more obvious. And so that's the stuff that Public Works has been working with and the city manager. Did I miss anything?
No, I think that's good.
Okay. So we're actively pursuing
Yeah,
it. There's
thank
not
you.
going to be any work out there this week.
I know
but-
it's a short period of time, but, it seemed like it's been a dangerous road for a lot of years. It's not, just didn't happen overnight, so.
Correct.
I think we've lived with it for a long time, and hopefully we can do something to correct the problem.
That's what we're going to rely on the consultant for, to help us if there's some things we can put in, either rumble type, the buttons to put down in, it'd have to be in the Merced County, that's why we would have to work with them. Maybe even a flashing warning sign about they're about reduced speed ahead to bring it to their attention a little bit as well. And then we're hoping with that edge stripe that'll give the appearance that the road's narrower than it is to slow them down. Because you can do a lot of visual things to slow that traffic down by just striping. And that's why sometimes you'll see on crosswalks now, instead of just being a blank crosswalk, they put the big stripes between it. That makes you feel like there's an object coming in front of you, so you have a tendency just to want to slow down. So those are some of the options we're going to hopefully get from our consultant to make recommendations on that.
Is there a possibility to put a stop sign in there?
At Inyo and Canal School Road,
Well, right there where the city property began.
that would be at Inyo
Yeah.
and Canal School. That, we're going to rely on the consultant to make that recommendation, to see what he thinks about a stop sign. One concern that staff has regarding that is that you create a high opportunity for T-bone accidents, which are typically more fatal than accidents they've been having. So somebody who just takes it for granted that they can pull out from Inyo, and the person that is not going to stop, that is probably speeding at 80, 90 miles an hour, is going to T-bone that person. So I'm a little skeptical about doing that, but we're going to rely on our consultant to make that recommendation.
I'll go with you. I'll leave with the consultant. Thank you so much.
You're
Well,
welcome.
hopefully we're being with him in the pocketbook a little bit too, you know, and I hope the guys are out writing tickets and getting the attention of people, so that also works. So, I just have a couple of things. As I do annual, I get the letter from the presiding judge this year. It's Loretta Bagan, for any prospective, just civil grand jurors that might be interested. So I'll put that out. If anybody's interested in serving on the civil grand jury, contact me via City Hall, and we can get your name submitted. Has to be done by April 15th. So again, if anybody's interested in serving on the civil grand jury, contact City Hall, and I'll put you in touch with people who will sign you up. So, or if you just care to just talk to me, see me, I'll get that word out. So again, if you want to serve on the civil grand jury, I'll sign you up, point you in the right direction. Secondly, I'd just like to say the chamber dinner this last Saturday was great. It was a nice dinner. I'd like to congratulate Vicki Lucas. I think it was a well-deserved honor, receiving the J.T. Silvera Award. She's pretty relentless in the things she does in our community, and I think it was very well-deserved. A couple other things, not that it bothered me so much, and as much as I know there was a lot of recognition that was given to a lot of different groups and service groups in town, but I think two very important groups were not mentioned. So I'll use my platform to get them mentioned. Many of you are aware that Tosca has been in our community now for almost 17 years. And during that time, Tosca has given out over $1.5 million, $1.5 million to our local students or summer graduates. Kids can apply for money up to 10 years after graduating from school. So I think Tosca needs to be recognized for the good things they do, and many people serve on that board of directors, including myself. And I'm just really, really proud of Tosca. And for a community size of Newman, it has doled out $1.5 million in scholarships. This year, we'll dole out well over another $100,000 to our summer graduates. So I think it's, unfortunately, they weren't mentioned Saturday night, so I'll mention them now. And the other one is the Salvation Army, also was not mentioned. Salvation Army is a fantastic group of people who work tirelessly in our community, not only during the Christmas season, during the canned food drive, but year-round. They're doing things in this community. So I'd like to thank both those organizations for all they do for our community, who, again, Tosca, that's directly influenced in our community. None of that money goes out of our community. It's all done right here. And Salvation Army does everything right here in our community. So I think those two groups need to be recognized and thanked for all they do. And so with that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Good night. We're adjourned.